Aloha, Earth Angels. It is I, Still Waters, and today I'd like to take a moment to do your energy update. Today's energy update is going to be a little more in depth. We're going to take our time, we're going to go through the cards one by one. I have already pulled all the cards, and we're just going to really dig deep inside and dive in to the heart of the matter at hand. Whatever that may be, whatever is most dear on your heart, most dire on your heart, is what we will tap hardest into today. So let's get started with our reading. Yeah. So we have some gray matter in our life. Gray matter. Gray matter is the brain, the literal physical mechanism of the brain, and it's high intellect, very scientific, intellectual energy, and you have been operating like this in the gray matter instead of the rainbow light. Now, the rainbow can represent many things for the individual. It can be a political statement, it can be a sports team, it can be these very specific labels. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about crystalline, rainbow, iridescent light. It's very attractive. Um, it's the sparkle of life, the sparkle, the thing that giggles are made of, the thing that brings you the highest joy, does not exist in this very basic, squishy gray matter. The gray matter is just there to be a mechanism to do the job. But that is not where you need to focus your attention. You need to get yourself back into the sparkle, into the spark, into the rainbow crystalline energy of life and light. And it's okay to exist on that level at all times and in all ways. That can seem a bit, um, I guess, from my personal perspective, that's where I know that I need to exist, that I should exist. But I get very caught up in my root chakra, which tells me that no, you want to be more hard. You want to be more metal. You want to be more um, more intense, more passionate, um, and that passion doesn't really exist on that higher plane, that crystalline plane. And I kind of feel this push and pull, this tug of war between the two, between my crown chakra, my third eye, my crown chakra, and my base chakra, my lower chakras. So it's about balancing that out. And the way that we balance that out is through the Lionsgate portal, through the Leo energy, through the strength, the oomph, the drive to create, to become, to be more. That is where you can balance the two forces. So don't just exist in the gray. What do I mean by that? The gray matter. The gray matter is just kind of like driving your car in neutral. It's not going to go anywhere, right? You need to have passion and compassion, um, calm energy and excited energy. Being in the gray matter is being not just, it's not really the balancing point. It's more like the the beginning. In the beginning there was void. It's almost like a void space where yes, things can happen on top of that space, but there's really nothing there. It's like being in a room with nothing in it. I mean, you don't want to just exist in a room with nothing in it. Um, but let's move on and get a little more clarity on our situation here. So, yeah, we have the flower of life. The flower of life is that it's that place where the creative spark happens from that void. So, from that void, from that space, that empty room, there's an explosion of color and an explosion of excitement. And that's really the next step in leveling up is you have this big bang moment where things just start falling into place and things start happening. And if we can focus on that as a literal symbol, the flower of life, we can begin to restructurize and recrystallize our very being. We can begin to restructurize and recrystallize our life, which is kind of crumbled. And the flower of life is literally, you can see here, a structure, a very deliberate, a very beautiful pattern. It's a pattern. And when you're in chaos, you're not crystallized. And so this card is coming to tell you that it's time to crystallize. And your ideas, your thoughts, your life, your physical makeup. So if you're doing things that are not in alignment with health, with wealth, with your goal, then those are things that need to be recalibrated and restructured. So restructuring is needed so that you can have that big bang moment. Um, and you can manifest. You have the ability to manifest your desires in this now. You can manifest whatever you want. Whatever you want. It's all there. It's all waiting for you to act. It's waiting for you to act. It's waiting for you to have that moment and to choose. And whatever else um, you have to, what I'm saying is, you really have to think about all the things that you've done in your life and all of your little hobbies and all of your little quirks and all of the things that make you you and start to put those things in perspective. So you can even write out all the little things that make you you, all the things that you like to do, all the things that you take your time to do, that your time goes into. Because if you're not manifesting your desires, it means your time is being spent on things that are probably not drawing you towards what you really want or what you really need in life. And you need to start weeding your garden and start weeding those things out and really focusing on the thing that you want the most. And you have the power to do that. You have the free will to manifest your highest excitement, right? But you're feeling, I'm not going to say you're feeling powerless, but there's a powerlessness in in the space of not knowing what to choose. It's a sort of catatonic despair and powerlessness that can just suck the life out of you, suck the desire out of you to make action happen, to take action on your desire. So what you need to literally do is start weeding those things out and literally giving it up. Literally giving it up. If that means that you have to take all those things that you've spent a lot of time, effort, and money on and just get rid of that entire part of your life, give it away to an organization or a place that will take it, like a thrift store, or a school. If you're doing a lot of, if you were doing a lot of crafting, there's places, there's art centers that will take your art supplies. If that's, if you're doing a certain hobby wasn't really getting you towards your highest excitement. I'll give you an example. So let's say you start a business because, something you're doing. Let's say you're doing like cupcakes. Okay, you're making cupcakes, and you start doing it as a side hustle, as a business, and your business starts to grow. People really like your cupcakes, and you're doing this, and you do this for several months to a couple of years. You're doing these cupcakes, and then it just becomes, it's just like sustaining itself. It's not really growing, it's just sustaining itself. And the reason for that is because your cupcakes are not your highest excitement. Maybe you're not feeling as fulfilled as you thought you would when you first started it. Because when you first started it, the main motivation was, oh, people like the cupcakes I made. I just made it because I like those cupcakes, and then I started making more, and I started giving them away, and then people wanted to pay for it, and I was like, oh, okay, so I can make money doing this. Hey, that's exciting. But it draws away from whatever you were doing that was your highest excitement. Making cupcakes wasn't your highest excitement, but you turned it into a business, and it was a pretty lucrative business, but it's not really growing. And because it's not really growing, it's sustaining itself, and it might be growing, but it's not growing you. It's not You're not putting in your passion into it anymore, and it's just kind of existing, and maybe it fails, or maybe it's time to sell the business. Maybe you're like, you decide, okay, this is not really what I wanted for myself. What you can do, but and you're thinking, okay, but it is a business, and if I change my mind, I can always go back, right? I can always go back. So you have all this equipment, you have all this stuff that goes along with this business, and you're like, maybe I should hang on to this stuff, but it's just like, it's just gonna keep drawing energy from you. So maybe you should donate all that equipment to a culinary school, or something, or just take it to the thrift store, or donate it to a homeless shelter or something. Um, that's just what I'm saying, is so that you can just clear that space around your spirit, that physical space. See, everything has mana. Everything has. Sorry about the. I don't know what people are drilling stuff into their cars right now. Everything has mana. So the car has mana. The clothes have mana. Um, and what I mean by that is, everything is created for a purpose, and it has its own energy. It carries its own weight. So if you're storing a lot of stuff, if you're hanging on to a lot of stuff, this could really help some of us with hoarding issues, the inability to let go of things. You can see it as, if it's meant to come back, it will come back into my reality. I can always do that again. And when you're thinking from an abundance mindset, you're like, why should I care about that equipment? I can get better equipment later on if that's what I really want to do. But right now, that's not what I want to do. So it's time to let go. It's time to release. It's time to let go. And on top of that letting go, oh, on top of that letting go, you have the Ten of Cups. Yeah. You have your wish fulfillment. You have everything that you ever wanted. Once you learn how to focus your highest excitement, to figure it out, to sharpen it to a point, and to release the energies that are bogging you down, that are connected to all the other things that were taking up your time, and let those things go, and allow and release them back to the universe, and say, you know what? This was an idea I had. When I think about it, I don't think I'm going to make that quilt, or I'm not going to paint that painting, or I'm not going to do those wind chimes, or I'm not going to make that jewelry, or I'm not going to, you know, have that sandwich business or whatever you were planning on doing. And I'm just going to release that material stuff, that mental stuff, that mental connection, the gray matter. The gray matter. The gray matter has mana, but it needs to be utilized. It needs to be used in order to be functional, because if it's not functional, then it's just weighing you down. It's like when you're playing video games and you have way too much of, you've gathered and you've weighed yourself down with too many different types of armor. And if you're huffing it through the countryside, you're going slow because you're carrying all these weapons and all this armor. You need to start letting it go. Yeah, it was useful at one point, but right now it's not serving you. You'll get another weapon. You'll get better armor, better weapons, better skills down the line. I hope this is making sense. Yeah, the new beginnings are coming. You have to be optimistic and you have to look at it from an innocent mind. You have to reclaim your innocence. Your innocence is your power. Your innocence and your sense of wonder and excitement about life, that is your power. Power does not lie just in learning. You can find things out. You can find things out through experience. And that is in its own power, but there is a power in not knowing. There is a power in being innocent, being carefree, and being excited about the next step in life, even though you don't know what that is, and you're going with like complete blinders on. You have to lighten your heart about that. You cannot approach a new beginning with a heavy burden on your heart and a heavy burden on your shoulders. You have to cast all that off and walk into this next phase totally naked and totally ready and totally happy about it. It's not about being naive. You've done your homework. Here come the bubbles and the fairies. I call them bubbles and fairies when there's sirens going by. Um, yeah, it's not about being reckless because, like I said, you cast off that weapon. There's a better weapon down the line, and you already have the fighting skills necessary to face whatever's coming. You have it. You have it. You're not totally naive about this, but you are willing to go into this naked, willing to go into this fight. I don't know. Is it Elden Ring? I think it's Elden Ring, which is a video game where you can fight the big boss naked. I've seen it done. I haven't played the game, but I've seen it done. Where you have all this armor, but it's actually better to fight the big boss naked because you have already accumulated so many stamina points and so many like experience points that you can kick his butt naked. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say is that you have the skills necessary to kick the monster's butt and to face this problem naked and unafraid. Naked and unafraid. And optimistic about it all. Yeah. And from this place, and we've talked about this recently, from this place, you can be a source of, you can be a resource. You can become a resource for others. From this place of clear heart, clear space, clear mind, clear intention, and clear focus, you become the giver. You become abundant in flow, and it flows out and reaches and touches others' lives. And that's powerful. I'm getting choked up. Like I'm having trouble speaking all of a sudden because it's hard to believe. Get some water so that I can talk. It's hard to believe. This is something that we might need to digest a little bit because it's sometimes it's hard to give when you lack, when you are approaching everything from an attitude of non-gratitude and an attitude of lack. You don't feel very charitable. You know, a homeless person could look at you and you've already got your guard up because you're like, oh my god, he's gonna ask for something. um, but from this clear space, crystallize. This is something that I've been wanting to. Oh, I'm open. This is something that I've been wanting to discuss on this channel for a while. Is the concept of crystallization. This is my own concept. I mean, I've heard it before, but the concept of crystallization, because I work with crystals, I worked with crystals and made it part of my um, made crystal work part of my life since I was a child, and I actually made it into a business. But the way crystals work is they grow, and through their growth, their structure becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And this is how we need to structure our lives, really condition ourselves to, you know, crystallize. Crystallize means to make manifest, to make manifest. Whatever you desire, you have to become. You have to become that crystal. You have to become that ideal, that visualization. So, one way that we're going to do that is we are going to literally envision, and you can create a vision board of this. You can make a Pinterest, whatever. You can, do a drawing or a collage of images, whatever it takes for you to really understand this and to really draw this into you and crystallize it into you is think about who you are in the place that you where you have manifested your desire, whatever that is. Let's say, to be very blunt, let's say you want to be rich, right? You want to be rich. What does that rich person look like? What does that rich person, I'm talking about you, but the future you, the you that is in that other dimension, that dimension of being rich. What do they look like? What do they sound like? What do they act like? How do they dress? How do they see the world? What does their world look like? What does their car look like? What does their house look like? It's more than just, okay, this is my vision board. This is the house that I want. This is the car that I want. It's a little bit deeper than that because you're literally talking about restructure restructuring and crystallizing your entire existence in another dimension. This is like interdimensional work. This is high level stuff we're talking about here. Very high level stuff. You have to believe that to be true. That this is not just woo woo thinking. This is literally you being an alchemist. Does this person, where do they shop? Do they shop? Where do they live? Do they live in the woods? Do they live near the ocean? Do they live, you know, at the top of a mountain? Do they live at the top of a skyscraper? Which skyscraper? Like, really, really try to create this person. And then what you're going to do is you're going to completely internalize that. 100%. Meaning you're going to cut out whatever that person doesn't have anything to do with. And you're going to start to incorporate as you go. You're going to incorporate the things that this person embodies, this person is. And that is your homework assignment. Is you're going to start to create this vision and crystallize that vision within. This could take a lot of time, and we need to be patient with ourselves through this process. Does this person do all those things that you do now? Those things that are a part of your life now. Have those things been serving you? And if they haven't, they need to go. They just can go. At least for now, because you want to go on this total being diet when it comes to manifesting your desire. You have to go on a diet of all the other things that are not serving you. And so I have personally started to do this in my life. Just today. Just today. And I was absolutely floored and shocked with what I discovered about myself. Certain things that okay, one tool that will supercharge this for you, where you can literally discover, this is how I discovered it, okay? How I was not manifesting my desires was through the algorithms. Because nowadays, most of us are stuck on our phones, right? We waste a lot of time playing on our devices, in social media, in YouTube, in um, different, focus on different areas, playing games on our phones, whatever. And if those things are not part of our highest excitement, then why are we dulling ourselves down into gray matter with those things? For me, quite literally, it's like I watch a lot of, like, I guess the algorithms have shown me a lot of things that are quite negative. And I try to go through the list, like on my YouTube, on my main YouTube. My main YouTube is not, it's just my personal one that I don't upload to. It's just the one that I spend a lot of time on, just kind of scrolling through. And I would say like a third of it is all about manifestation. Videos from like Neville Goddard, Joe Dispenza, um, Abraham Hicks, different channels, Bashar, mostly Bashar. And that's where I get a lot of my information from. Just my basic information, um, you know, stuff on philosophy, stoicism. Um, I like those. I like to listen to them when I'm at work, or when I'm exercising. I like to listen to that. But then everything else was like horror movie related, like horror game related. I like watching horror games. It's exciting, um, and a lot of cop cams and courtrooms dramas and just a lot of that. A lot of political stuff comes through my algorithms, um, and you know comedy commentators that are very political, very negative. Like the things they talk about are the things that they don't prefer. And a lot of that, a lot of people talking about or experiencing things that they don't prefer. And I'm like, why am I immersing myself in that experience over and over and over again for hours, some days for an entire day? If I'm having a nice day off and nobody's bothering me and I have nothing to do, I'm just gonna like lay in bed and watch and experience this. Experiencing others experiencing what they don't prefer, or experiencing others experiencing excitement in a negative way. And being 100% positive has never been that attractive for me. It's never been very attractive, being 100% positive all the time. It kind of feels like, that's kind of boring. Sometimes I just want to rage. I just want to rock out. And that's fine, but I've been doing that for so long. And I figured out why I do those things. It's because of, childhood trauma and all of that stuff. It feels, um, it feels normal. It feels like expected to have to relive your trauma over and over in your body. The body response to trauma, which is like being scared, being um, taken advantage of, being um, not being in control of your life. And we talked about this yesterday, that you are now in control of your life and you're getting more comfortable with that. And yeah, so what we're doing, we're crystallizing. That's our homework assignment. And from that place, so I'm just doing a little quick review from that place. We can start to give. Yeah, new opportunities, new beginnings, more opportunities coming in, more wish fulfillment, and that's why we need to restructurize and crystallize exactly what our wish is. We're going to work on that. And who the person is with their wish fulfilled. Who is that person? Where do they live? What do they do? What do they look like? How do they present themselves? How do they dress? How do they act? Um, and who are they in the world, their place in the world? Maybe they're alone. And, you know, maybe when you think of your wish fulfilled, you're like, I want the house, I want the dog, I want, you know, the two kids, the three kids, the wife, a perfect partner, the white picket fence, the cars, you know, all that, all the whole nine. Or, and, not or, but that person is totally alone. And that person is totally cool and fine with being lonely and alone and in their own skin. Lonely. I am really, really alone. And I'm stoked to be really alone in my body and in myself. I can be surrounded by everything, and everything I see is what I want in that lonely space. Think of it that way. Yeah, because that's what's coming up right now is hermit energy. And all kinds of wealth and abundance is coming up. You know, we have Page of Pentacles, we have Nine of Pentacles. So this is complete independence. Nine of Pentacles is complete and total wealth and independence through wealth, wealth through independence. Yeah, enjoying all that you are and all that is at this moment. I just saw something outside. What was it? A wandering soul, a hermit. Just walked by. Um, yeah, and your hard work and discipline. Through hard work and discipline. Repetition, repetition. Repeat the process. So figure out what it is, get rid of what doesn't serve, focus, crystallize, and repeat. Repeat the process. The hard work. Do the work. To push yourself further into that person, into that space, that person that you see, that ultimate crystallized being. Doing the work over and over, repetition, 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 repetition. You have to go on a spiritual diet and a physical diet, your body. You know, go through the process of achieving health, achieving wealth. You say, how can I achieve wealth if I don't have my health? If I feel like crap, if I'm in pain, if I'm suffering, you have to let go of all the things that are burdening you first. And then you're going to crystallize and focus and narrow the path towards your highest excitement, towards your enlightenment. Enlightenment means to lighten your load. You're just completely light. Yeah. And don't worry about what you can't see. Don't worry about the unseen. What is unseen will be revealed in time. And you will be ready for it. And even if you aren't ready for it, it's okay. The house is burning. The house could be on fire. And you are in the middle of it. And everything's going to be okay. Yeah, it's fine. Sometimes you just gotta let it all burn around you. But don't lose your shit. What's the point of losing your shit? It doesn't do anything. It might light a fire under you to, like, okay, it might motivate you, but there's no reason to be like that guy and lose your shit just because you're pissed off. Um, yeah, it's time to flow, to allow the flow. If the flow cannot happen, let's say the river is blocked, the flow is blocked because there's all this stuff, there's all this internal crap, there's all this poop in the river, poop inside of you. You cannot flow. So you have to dig out and root out all the muck, and you have to clean, you have to malama, you have to care. You have to care for your internal flow, your chakra flow, your rivers. You've got to clean them out. You got to cleanse. Yeah. So that you can become, where does the river flow to? Into the ocean, the vastness of the all. You got the river and you got the ocean. You've got, what's unseen. Don't worry about it. Get that flow going, and then you are going to become as vast as the ocean. So, right. So, we're going to continue with our other homework assignments as well. These are like constant, the homework assignments keep going until they start to click and they start to work for you. So you are going to visualize your flower of life, hexagram, pentagram, uh, Merkaba. Start working with deities, working with visualize and make manifest something that you can focus your energy on. I like the flower of life. You can use the flower of life or the seed of life. And by doing that, you're going to go through your initiation. You've gone through your initiation, and you're going to start to cultivate and use the four elements and the. Let me just think for a second. Yes, so this is something that I have personally used. So we're talking the about wind, about air, using air. So deep breathing, we've talked about that before. And that's something that you want to continue to use as part of your practice. Breathing, Wim Hof breathing, ice baths, things like that. If you can do that, try it. But now we're going to incorporate another step, which are winds, which are like incense. And we've talked about incense before, and I have talked about resins before. But maybe you need to get some at this time. Yeah, you need to get some at this time. So, one one spice that is used for success and for manifesting abundance is cinnamon. It's a very common one used in magical works using cinnamon. You can use cinnamon. Also coriander, which is like cilantro. You can even eat cilantro. If you're not really into the woo woo magicking kind of stuff and burning incense and you know um, doing like ritualistic activities, these are just permission slips. You can do it however way you want. Um, these are just things to help to make physical the unseen. It's just a permission slip. That's all it is. So I'm not pushing anything like that on anybody. If you don't feel comfortable with that, then don't do it. But one thing that I use is frankincense. I use it very heavily. Frankincense, I use a lot of resins in the the work that I do because when you burn resins, when you burn um, these things in a space, you don't want it to be too close. It has to have wind. It has to have airflow. So I usually do it outdoors. But when you burn these things, it quite literally totally transforms the vibe into the most wonderful feeling that you've ever had. So clear and so powerful. So I love frankincense. I love Palo Santo and sage. For me, sage is sometimes a little bit too smoky, too heavy. Frankincense is very smoky, but the what it releases transforms the energy of the space. These are powerful transformative properties. Powerful, very, very powerful. And it's been used for thousands of years by the ancient cultures. Use frankincense. They use benzoin. They used, you know, uh, sandalwood. They used, um, there's a few different ones, and oh, they smell so good. And just breathing those in as you can use it during meditation. Powerful, powerful manifestors for meditation. So do a little research about this because this is something that can turbo boost. It's like turning on the nitrous oxide, in your turning on the nitrous oxide, and it's like a super boost of power. Um, yeah. So let's start working with smoke. With smoke. If you're into marijuana and that whole culture, you can use marijuana for this too. Marijuana is a money. It's green. It symbolizes money, so you can do that too. Okay, so we have actually gone through all of our cards today. We have really, really, really done a very intense session, and I'm so happy if you have stuck with me throughout this. We're going to end with scripture. Yeah, we're going to end with scripture. All right. So we're in Zechariah 4 to 6. Then I answered and said to the angel who was speaking with me, saying, "What do these things mean, my Lord? What does it all mean?" So the angel who was speaking with me answered and said to me, "Do you not really know what these things mean?" Well, that's a lot to chew. That's a lot to chew because basically it's saying that, hold on, you know all this stuff already. This is what we've been talking about. You've been through so much in your life. How do you not know what this is, what it all means? What why we're doing what we're doing and why we are becoming powerful manifestors now. Why things happen to us and why the things that happen to us happen in the way that they do is because we've been manifesting them. And on this channel, we've been learning thus far, at least this year, in this series that I've been recently doing, is that we can start to manifest the things that we actually want. That's all we're doing here. We're manifesting the things that we actually want to happen for us and not the things that we don't want. We're done with that. We're tired of that. So we want to discover really what it all means. And we've been feeling like we don't know when we do know. We do. So let's discover more of that and dig in deeper into that together. And I will see you in the next reading. And I hope you have a great